Hello, welcome to the Fishing Report with Big Daddy. I'm back in the chair, at least for this week. I will explain that later. But had a nice week off, did a little bit of fishing, and I'll get into that later too. But it has been a time. Sometimes when you go fishing, you hook a big fish, but that fish gets off the hook. And then you go back and try and catch him again, and someday we will. I had a big fish on the hook from Cray Outdoors. The owner of the company, Rick Provence, was going to be on as a guest, but he had a family obligation. It just happened, and so he will not be joining us today. But since I'm on the Cray pro staff, I'm going to talk a little bit about the company. And this past Monday, Memorial Day, they had a big event. And at their shop, they opened a brick and mortar business in Sebring, Ohio. And here's some video from down there. Showed all their products. They've got over 60 types of soft and plastic baits, soft plastics, hard baits. They've got line. They've got stuff for bass, for smallmouth bass, pike, muskie, crappies, panfish, everything. And we had a great time down there on Memorial Day, and lots of people showed up. It was surprising because it was a holiday. It was sort of we forgot it was Memorial Day. But a lot of us pro staffers were down there helping out and explaining how to use the baits and how to fish them, and just a great time. Cray is a local company. It's based in Ohio, and he does everything out of the shop in Sebring. Pours the baits there, packages them, and everything. They also have a thriving online business at castcray.com if you want to go to that site and check out their products. And I have a lot of favorites, great crappie baits since I'm a big crappie fisherman, and love it, and happy to be on their pro staff and share their success. And, hopefully... Oh, I did overhear one thing when I was down there. It was actually funny. Family pulled up, husband and wife and their son, and the wife said, "This is the biggest thing to happen in Sebring in years." And I just thought that was really, really funny. Made me laugh. But it is, it's important. Shop local. Ohio used to be the cradle of the fishing industry. Akron had Pfluger and... Fred Arbogast, and it was the cradle of the fishing tackle industry. And it's good to see Ohio companies still making baits and making them available. So buy local, folks. And that's castcray.com. And I think I'm at the end of that. So let's go to the fishing reports. We do have fishing reports this week. A lot of Lake Erie. We're going to start out west with Captain Bob Huey sent me a report with Fishing Fool Charters. He runs out of Marblehead out that way. And water temperature, according to Bob, 61 degrees. The water temperature and clarity is improving. Walleyes are starting to move to their summer staging areas and hit. They're moving east around Catawba Island towards the South Passage. Walleye are being taken at the line, which is the Canadian border, the line between Canada and the United States, between the islands. Out west, they're moving into the channel around West Sister Island. The reefs are still producing some fish. Best method is casting a 1 to 1.5 ounce harness with a piece of night crawler on it. It's a spinner rig. It's got a blade on it. And you want to let it sink all the way to the bottom and shuffle it along the bottom. The fish have been feeding on perch down there. Plus, there are some suspended fish. Don't be afraid of 10 counting and swing the rigs. This is a very good way to fish these rigs. You take the corner of the boat. They usually call it the hot corner. And as the boat's drifting, you'll cast one direction and your bait will swing from left to right or right to left, however which way the boat's going. And in that swing and that change of direction, that's what triggers the bites of the fish. When you get to the end of the swing and it starts pulling straight, the fish will attack it. So reaction bites out there, that's how they're catching those. On the troller side, the hot spot is west of the islands, 30 feet of water. And they've switched to hitting spoons and crawler harnesses on True Trips, which is a diver that gets your bait down to a certain level in the water, 25 to 50 feet behind the boat. And limits are coming in everywhere. Catawba, Anchors Away, Bayview, they're all over. And check your lengths on your fish. There's a lot of small fish out there. The walleye population is booming, and be sure you're within the legal limits of your numbers and your size. So thank you, Bob Huey from Fishin' Full Charters. Let's move a little bit to the east to Huron. And I got a nice report from my good friend Michael Bray, who is the Pope of the Church of Perch in Huron. And out of Huron, fish are on the bottom. He said he had to almost hit him in the head with the lures, 26 feet of water. And 25 to 30 feet of water off of Huron, that's where they're getting the fish. He said worm harnesses and dipsies. There's a hand-tied worm harness he tied up. Best color, something flashy, gold, fire tiger, something like that. And guys were casting and drifting too. There's some folks on a jet ski that had a couple of rods off the back. They were trolling on a jet ski. You see everything up there in Huron, I'm telling you. But great stuff from Michael. They're also catching some perch out there. Look at that sunset. That's a beautiful thing. If you've never experienced that, you need to get out on Lake Erie and catch walleye at sunset. Beautiful. And there are reports of perch being caught. This was out north of Kelly's and northwest of Kelly's Island. And nice perch, good size, got a limit. There's also folks catching them off the wall at Huron from shore. Not so many fish, but they are, weeding through and getting a few keepers, which is nice. Huron's a beautiful place. Walk along the water, look at all the boats. And another beautiful place to check out, it's on the waterfront, is Lorraine. And that's where we found, once again, Captain Chris Vogel, Dog Pound Charters. They've been doing really, really well on the walleye. He said bigger walleye are running higher in the water column. They do a lot of trolling charters, and they're running higher in the water column, catching nice limits of fish. He's running short leads. Flicker minnows are the bait, 65 feet behind the boat, unassisted, no weights. That's a flicker minnow, custom color. I'm not sure what that color is, but it's a custom. Some really nice fish. The smaller fish are deeper, so come up in that water column. They're also getting them on bandits, 25 to 30, 25, 30, and 25, 40 with the 2-ounce snap weights. I went over that once before with you put out 25 feet of line, put on the snap weight, put out another 30 feet of line, clip on your planer board, and let that go out to the side. And he says the trolling speeds he's been using, 1.7 to 2.1 mile an hour. That's important because when you're trolling, it's about water depth and the speed the bait is going. So, and if you're doing that, troll and change directions, just make a little zigzag, and those baits will in the water will turn back and forth like that. Sometimes that triggers a bite, because walleyes love to come up and look at what is making all this racket and flash and everything in the water. And if it changes direction on them, they go, oh, it's getting away, and they're going to bite it. So that's how they get to trigger those fish. Further to the east, off of Cleveland area, Captain Andy Durda, my good friend from Monkey Sea 3.0 Charters. He's been going out of Wildwood and doing really well. He said the bite's been sort of tough, but it's getting better. What made the bite tough was the bug hatch. Walleyes love midges, and they were eating them left and right, so as they're coming up through the water. But he's getting them trolling. He's catching some bandits on behind the planer boards. Most productive baits, though, were worm harnesses with a Colorado blade. That's a blade that's rounded on the back. You can see that copper one down there. That's what he was using. And catching fish, he says chrome or gold seen best, and the fish were suspended 20 to 30 feet down in the water column over 44 to 48 feet of water. So walleyes are up in the water column. What they're doing is chasing those larvae of the midges that are coming up. You'll see clouds of those on your fish finder, and if there's a lot of those larvae in the water, the walleyes generally won't bite because they're full. And, you know, you can only eat so much at the buffet, right? That's how that goes. But now to the last report, and this is very, I don't know, not emotional, but I'll try not to get emotional. But when I was on vacation last week, I went to West Branch with my son Nick and nephew Dominic, and we got the boat in the water. Everything's going great. I had heard the crappie spawn is just about over, but there's some males still in shallow, very shallow, and they're really dark colored with their spawning colors. What happened was I've injured myself. I've got what they call old cameraman's disease. I've got shoulder problems and back problems, and on vacation I went to pull the pull start on my motor, and I pulled and my shoulder popped. So I can't fish anymore for a while, and I can't lift a camera either. So, but I'm getting it repaired. I've got MRIs scheduled and a surgeon's visit scheduled and all sorts of stuff once we figure out what's going on. But I just wanted to tell you that I did fish. I caught a few fish, bluegills, crappies, a catfish. We caught them on slip bobbers and minnows, anywhere from 1.5 feet deep to 8 feet deep over 10 feet of water. So that's what we got. The bigger females and the bigger fish have spawned, and they're moving out, and they're staging to get ready to move into their summer areas. So they're back at the mouths of coves and on the edges of the creek channels. And you can see those on any map of West Branch. You can get that from the Division of Wildlife, wildohio.com, search maps. I've got over that before too. But we ran out of minnows, ran out of bait, and I started using the cast cray soft plastics. It's something called a micro duster. Little tiny bait, looks like looks like a little octopus or something. But I was fishing that and throwing it under overhanging trees and caught I don't know how many bluegills, but it was fun. This is a picture of the last fish I caught out at West Branch, and I'm yelling because my arm hurts from holding the camera, and I couldn't hold it anymore. So this was the only picture I got. And but I got to get my shoulder fixed because I got to go fishing. I haven't fished in a week and a day, and I love talking about it, but I'd rather be out on the water. But I guess that's it for this week. I'm going to be off for a while. There won't be a fishing report until I get back. So I'm going to be, I really appreciate everybody who's helped me out with fishing reports and sending pictures. And, this is still a dream of mine. I'm going to make this dream work. And once I get this shoulder repaired, I'll be back. I'll be taking pictures, doing stories, and fishing again, which I cannot wait for. But we'll get more guests, more information, because that's what this is about, helping anglers catch more fish. And I'll still do that anytime. Look me up on Facebook. I'll be there. If you have any questions, Carl Bachtel on Facebook. And do me a favor while I'm off. Be safe. That's the main thing. Always, always be safe. Take a kid out fishing, and don't forget to wear your PFD. See ya.